What's up, guys? It's your girl Mac Cox from Maccouture Crafting, and today I want to do a video about which one should you buy. Should you buy a Cricut? Should you buy the Accuquilt? Now look, I always say that I'm a beginning quilter, which drives people insane. However, you and I both know that I'm new to quilting. I've only been doing it for a couple years, and so I consider myself newish to that in all things quilting. But when it comes to a Cricut, yeah, you will be hard pressed to find somebody who knows more about a Cricut than me. It's just the truth. I'm very confident in my Cricut skills. I started off as a paper crafter many moons ago, and a Cricut I know. Now, I started off with the Cricut for my paper crafting, and so I've had just about every version that they make of a Cricut. I love it, but if I'm being honest, if I had never purchased a Cricut before, and I wasn't a Cricut person, and I was coming into this thinking that I wanted to do maybe stickers or have an Etsy shop, I don't know that Cricut would be the way that I go. And the reason why I say that is one of the downfalls of the Cricut is that it's glitchy. It's not a secret. Cricut knows that its software is glitchy. Design space is glitchy. Sometimes their machines can be a little temperamental. It's not a secret. Everybody knows. However, Cricut has the most accessible accessories and things and vinyl, and you can just go to your local craft stores and grab it. It's very accessible, and also, even though their design software is glitchy, it's very user-friendly. That's why, I mean, it comes in pretty colors, and they advertise great, and all the YouTubers use Cricut. I mean, it's great. But I'm just going to tell you the truth. Cricut does not know me from Adam. They did not send me my machines. Accuquilt does not know me from Adam. They did not send me my machines. This stuff was purchased by me, although you guys also know that I'm a notions girl. So take that, take that how you will too, because again, I will buy all the things. It's just who I am. But I see the question all the time, should I get an Accuquilt or should I get a Cricut? These two machines cannot be compared. They're different. They're so different. I use them for different things in regards to my crafting. Now, I am all about quilting now. I tried to do paper crafting and all that before, and I just didn't get that love. And so I started quilting, and all the love came in. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to just be talking about the Cricut in regards to fabric quilting, not paper crafting and all that other stuff. We can chat about that for hours and hours and hours, but that's not what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about this for fabric. Now, Cricut has, I believe, 3 models right now. They have the Tiny Joy. I own it. They have the Explorer Air. I own it. And they have the Maker, and here's my Maker. So yes, I have all of them and probably more. I don't know. I have die cutting machines. It's technically not a die cutting machine. It cuts shapes. It's an electronic shape cutter. You hook it up to your computer, your iPad, your cell phone, and you design it in their design space, and it cuts it out for you. Now, it's really cool. It's got this nice little housing in here that moves back and forth with a blade in there, and you can switch it out and put some other things in the whole blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to cutting fabric, I would suggest that you get the Maker. Yes, the Maker is the most expensive. I want to say the Maker retails right now for $399, like $400. It comes with the ability to use that rotary blade. And when you're cutting fabric, that's really what you want to be able to do, is have the rotary blade. It's just like your rotary blade that you use here, but it's tiny and it's on an axis and it rotates. And I love it. If you guys watched my Dragon Dreams, my baby quilt, the best baby quilt ever, you'll see that I cut a name out. And the reason why I was able to do that in that way and size it perfectly and make all my decisions was because I cut it out with my Cricut. I went in the computer, I said, hey, I want each letter to be 6 inches. I grabbed a font from my computer that was already installed in there, or maybe it was in Design Access. I just looked at a bunch of different fonts, and I said, I want to do this font because it's kind of got like a dragon. It goes with the quilt. It's got a vibe to it. And I resized it, and I cut it out, and I had it backed on heat and bond which is my preference, because then you can just iron it on and then you can stitch it down. That way it's stuck on there really good. People asked me time after time after time, how'd you get the letters? How'd you get the letters? How'd you get the letters? Cricut. I love this machine for that. When you want to be able to customize your stuff, and not just for baby quilts, but whenever I think about applique, I always think of like the duck, the little bonnet girl. I'm always thinking names, that kind of thing. The Cricut is what you want. You want to be able to do that. And then this particular machine, the Maker, can cut over 300 materials, including leather and crepe paper and every kind of fabric you can just about think of. 300 materials, yes. This is what you want to do. That's when I use my Cricut. That's when I bust out my Cricut. It's heavy. It's a heavier machine. It takes up some space. You've got to have space in front of it. You've got to have space behind it. You are limited to, I want to say, 11.5 inches wide, but you can go as long as your heart can really desire for the most part, especially if you get the new Cricut machine. Do you need to buy the brand new Cricut Maker 3? I go back and forth with that. So this is the Cricut Maker. There's no Cricut Maker 2, and then there's a Cricut Maker 3. I am going to have to buy that machine. Well, I need to replace this machine. This machine is a little glitchy when it comes to what? Cutting fabric. So I'm going to replace it. I'm going to get the Maker 3 because I just don't, why go backwards? You know, it does the same thing. It cuts it a little faster, and you can cut vinyl and stuff without doing it on a mat. Blah, blah, blah. So I think I'm going to buy it. However, if this was not glitchy, I would not purchase the Cricut Maker 3. I wouldn't do it. I would purchase the same that I have now. I really do like this machine, but when it comes to cutting fabric, I can't just walk away from it and trust that it's going to do what it's supposed to do. The glitch that I'm having is that in the middle of the cut, it'll just shut off, and I'm not able to salvage that. And that becomes an issue when you're buying $14 a yard fabric from K Facet and it's messing up your stuff. I can't live like that anymore. I've wasted way too much fabric. I've called them. It's out of warranty. They're like, you can have 10% off. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to get another one. It's what I do. I Cricut. I'm okay with it, but that's my story and it's the truth and I'm sticking to it. But again, if you want to be able to really customize your designs, if you're not scared to use a computer, a Cricut Maker is your jam. I mean, and if you want to applique, you can cut felt with this guy, and they have all these pre-done designs and design space. This is your jam. Cricut is so much fun. And then not to mention, if you just want to venture off and try some other crafts, this is your workhorse. Cricut probably has one of the strongest machines, electronic cutting machines out. It's a beast, and it does the things, and it can cut wood. There's a reason why it's the most popular. Okay, so that's your Cricut. Now let's talk about Accuquilt. I saw this machine years ago before I ever started quilting. Was like, I think I want that. Why? I don't know. It actually mimics and looks like my other die cutting machines for paper crafting. I also have all of the versions of Accuquilt too. I don't really know why. I can't make that make sense. But I have this, and this is the Go Me. So this is the new one. I think it used to be called the Go Baby. I have this one, and then I have the other one somewhere. I don't know where, but I know that I own it. And I've never taken it out the box, wherever it is. I think it's in there. Anyway, so I have all three of the Accuquilt machines. Accuquilt machines use an actual die. This is a die cutting machine. Of course, I don't have a die ready. This is a Accuquilt die. All the gray part is what does not cut. All of this light gray part is what you'll be left with after you finish running it through the machine. This is basically a pressure-based system. You put your fabric in here. You put a mat. This is a mat. You put that on top of it, and you just slide this sucker through, and it will cut your shape. When does one want to use this? If you were doing, I wish I had flipped this quilt. If you guys know, you guys been around for a while, you know this is the Disney Bound quilt. The back of this quilt is a ton of squares. It's just simple, charm pack, like 5-inch squares, but I needed to cut them out of my own fabric. I want to say the Accuquilt's theme, or not their theme, but their catchphrase is we cut faster so you can sew, or something along those lines. Something along those lines. And they're right. This makes it go so much faster, guys. So much faster. If I have a million 5-inch squares that I need to cut, and I need to cut it out of my own fabric, and I can't just go buy a pre-cut, which I don't love doing because you get those little pinked edges and you don't know if you should cut them off, if they're really exact. This is exact. This is probably as exact as you will ever get your cuts. They have triangles. They have squares. They even have shape dies like pumpkins and trucks and trees and bears and ducks and all that kind of thing. The downfall to this machine is it is expensive. My goodness. This machine is very expensive for what it is. Although, if you have arthritis, if you need to cut hundreds of these little triangles or squares and you want them to be exact and you are a precision piecer, this is probably going to be your jam. This is when I pull this out. If I need to cut a bunch of one shape, if I have the dies, and the dies again are expensive. Just go check them out. I'm going to leave the link down there. They're expensive, but they'll last you probably forever. I haven't had any issues with any of mine getting dull, and I have done some crazy things with mine. You can cut, I want to say 6 layers of fabric on this guy. They have a bigger one. They have the Studio Accuquilt, which is like more industrial, and it actually takes wooden dies that are, you can cut a few more layers of fabric and it's a little sturdier and more heavy duty. But if you need to cut a ton of stuff, strips, again, if you have arthritis in your hands, or you have some dexterity issues, or you just don't want to be doing this 50 million times, this is the way to go. Another thing that people don't love is if you lay a piece of fabric across this and cut it, the rest of this is going to be waste. That doesn't bother me. There is so much fabric in the world, and us as quilters, we have most of it in our homes, in our garages, in bins and all that, and I'm over it. After I have used most of my fabrics, I'm over them. I'm on to buying the next pretty fabric, because there will always be pretty fabric. So that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. And I've seen people do amazing scrap quilts with stuff like this, with these kinds of dies. For example, if I had this and I cut it out, then I had this right here as an extra, this right here as an extra. These are pretty sizable pieces. People are going to save those. Am I going to save them? No. But people are. And one of the things you can do is piece those pieces all back together. Just start sewing them all together. And then take that you've pieced together and grab one of those cool shapes, maybe a heart, maybe one of these wonky dies, and cut the shape out again. Oh my goodness. I have seen some crazy quilts that are just beyond beautiful. And so don't be scared of the waste. I know people freak out about that kind of stuff, but the people who are freaking out are probably the people who have garages full of fabric and whatnot. That waste does not freak me out. It will freak out some people, so just know that it's coming. Or you can try to cut your piece of fabric down as close as you can to the side, rough cut it, so that you can slide it through, just so that you feel more comfortable about the amount of waste that you'll be acquiring when you're using this. I love it. I have the smaller one. I bust the smaller one out with dies that are about this size. And then there are some larger strip dies and like crazy dies and big dies and Santa Claus kind of stockings. But again, they're expensive. They also have a set of alphabet. They have an alphabet set, a number set, but you can't customize it. You can cut it all out, at one time. You can get all your letters. You'll probably have to run it through a few times, but again, I'm telling you, the Cricut really sings when you want to customize your quilt, when you want to make the letters your own sizes. If you just want to have a bunch of standard shapes and that kind of thing, oh, this is great. Let me tell you something else about this guy. Say you are wanting to make your own die. Say they don't make the die that you want. You've got a design. You know how you want it to be. You can actually hook up with one of their sister companies and have your die made. It's not inexpensive, but you'll have it forever. So you guys remember the African quilt that I did? The person who made those had a die made, and she just runs them, through her machines constantly, which is amazing. with the backing on there. So then all you have to do is iron it down. You can have your own dies made. I saw a woman who did headbands. It's funny because I always have my headband. I should have one, right? But she does headbands, and so she sent over her template. Matter of fact, I got a girlfriend who recently has done the same thing. She sent it over. They made it for her. Now she can just really duplicate this without having to cut out her pattern and all that very, very efficiently. This will increase your sewing time. You will be able to sew so much more and cut so much less with this machine. I am a fan of Accuquilt. They're also a super diverse company, as is Cricut. You know, they've got a little bit of everybody working with their stuff, and I like that. You know, I always say it's not the main thing, but it's nice to see, right? Doesn't hurt. I like both of these machines, but you can't compare them. This does something way over here in left field. This does something over here. And again, I know the holidays are coming, and these both are big ticket items. These are the kind of items that you ask for the holidays, for presents, for birthdays, because they are expensive. Do you need both of them? No. If I had to just pick one, which one would it be? Probably the Cricut, but it cannot do what this can as fast. It's not going to cut. It can cut your square. It can cut it exact, but who's going to be switching out mat after mat after mat? I'm not doing that. It can also cut like your English paper piece stuff pretty cool, but again, I'm not doing that. I'd rather do it on this machine. It's faster. When I want something done fast, if I'm going to be doing some assembly line sewing, this is the way to go. This is an expensive machine for what it is. It's expensive. There's no way to get around it, but I like it. I'm happy that I purchased it. Do not purchase this if you're not going to use it, because you'll kick yourself and you'll see it in a corner, and I hate when I see these in the corner and people are like, I don't use it. They've acquired a few dies and they just... Also, they have something called a cube. I don't see my cube. And it comes with several of these dies. It's expensive. The cube is probably like $250, maybe $300. And it comes with several of these. I'd say maybe, I don't know, maybe 6, maybe 8 of these dies. And they are set up so that you can make hundreds of designs. You just keep cutting them and reconfiguring them. And it's really cool. It's a really cool investment. And your block, it'll come out with like a block that's 8 inches or 6 inches or 10 inches. It's worth looking into, especially if you think this machine is for you. It's something that you want to do. You want to play with it. Look into the cubes. You might find a size that you really love. Like maybe you are an 8-inch block person. Great cube. I think I have the 8-inch cube. I might have 2. Who knows what I have in here, guys. It's ridiculous. And there's only more to come. So I hope that I've helped you guys kind of know which one does what for what. Again, letters and shapes and things that you want to make specifically fit into your block. This is the way to go. If you're going to do a ton of triangles, if you're going to do a ton of half square, and the half square triangles, you don't have to worry about trimming them up. If you can sew a decent, it doesn't even have to be exact, but if you can sew a pretty decent 1/4 inch seam, it's like, oh my goodness, you only have to square it up. It just comes out just right every time because it's consistent. So yeah, I like them. I am glad that I have them both because I like to have the tools for the job. And if there's a job for quilting, I can probably knock it out with both of these. Do you need both? No, just figure out what you plan on doing and what you want to use it for and pick it, but don't compare them. Oh, I hate to see people say, well, should I get the Cricut or the Accuquilt? Like, what are you going to do? What is your project? How do you see yourself using these machines in the future? What do you think these machines do? I've got questions. If you have more questions, let me know. Leave them in the box, in the comment box. I respond extremely quickly, and this was fun. I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that we had this chat. I don't know which one you're going to get, but let me know. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, you thought we were done. I thought we were done too, and then I was reading over my notes and realized that I missed a couple of things. So let me tell you what they are now. I have another program that I use called Sure Cuts a Lot, and that gives the design space software that comes with the Cricut is limiting. It's not the best. People use Adobe Illustrator, and it's kind of Adobe Illustrator-ish, but it was specifically made for cutting machines, and that way you can design all your stuff and then import it into Cricut and use your Cricut to cut it. I use that a lot when I need to customize something and it won't allow me to customize it the way that I want to. Shortcuts a lot, tons of tutorials. It's also pretty user friendly, and if you're an Adobe Illustrator person, you can do it with no problem whatsoever. And that's for the Cricut. And I talked about how if I were starting a business, Cricut might not be what I went with just because it's glitchy and you need to be able to depend on stuff. I've seen people left in a lurch because their design space was down or whatever. I would look into the Silhouette Cameo, and especially the Pro one. What I was hoping Cricut would do before I needed to repurchase a machine is come out with a 24-inch machine. Cricut comes out with a Pro 24-inch machine. I'm buying it. I don't care what the price is. I'm here for it. That way I can cut a larger width, and oh my goodness, I would be a bad apple if I could do that. Boy, I tell you that I would, oh my goodness, I would just be doing all the things, because sometimes 11.5, I think it's 11.5 or 11.25, it's just not wide enough. I'd want to make larger boxes and all kinds of things, and so hopefully that's coming down the pipeline. And I think that's all I wanted to tell you guys. So thanks again for watching. Please, if you found any value from this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Okay, bye-bye. Oh yeah, and PPS. The reason why I'm only talking about the Maker and not the Explorer is just because I want you to get the most bang for your buck. And if we're talking about this in terms of fabric, your Explorer, just the fabric has to be bonded. You'd have to make sure that there's something like an interfacing or something. It's just not what I would suggest. I suggest going for the big guns. You don't have to get the Cricut Maker 3, but I would suggest the Cricut Maker for cutting any kind of fabric, leather, felt. And again, with the Cricut Maker, you can cut over 300 materials. With the Explorer, you're cutting like 100 materials. And so you are limiting yourself, and it does not have that rotary blade, which is the important blade. And also Cricut Maker comes with a ton of different other options that come in that blade style, which looks like this. A bunch of different other tips that come with this, and I just don't think you'd be sorry with that purchase. So I don't even talk about the Explorer. I don't even know why they still make the Explorer, honestly. I mean, people love it. I still have one, but I don't know why they still make that machine. I guess to give people a price point where they can play. You know, it's about $100, maybe $200 different. So maybe that's it. And it's a lovely machine, but this one, it just does more. Okay, I swear I'm gone now. Okay, bye-bye.